Greetings, scoundrels. Welcome to part 5 of the Blades in the Dark Roll20 walkthrough. In this particular section, we're going to go deep dive into rollable tables and how you can use them in Blades in the Dark and how we have them set up. So this is actually gone over in the GM Toolbox, which is the second page on the game, but I'm going to walk through it here as well. And this is still a great reference if later on you're trying to remember the steps. All of our rollable tables work essentially the same way. The only small nuance, the only small difference is that some of them are on the token layer, which is the default layer, and some of them are on the map layer, which you might have to switch to change what's visible. So I'm going to show you how to change values on a rollable table, and then we'll dive into the what it looks like to change that on the map layer. So let's start with a simple one. We've got an example of clocks, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 tick clocks. And if you right click on this, and this is the same across the board, go to multi-sided and say choose side, you can see the clock facing and you can click through how many ticks it has. So we put 2 ticks on that 4 tick clock. If I go to the 10 tick clock and I go all the way to the very end, you see there we've got 9 ticks out of 10. So that's very simple, straightforward use of how to have this dynamic content on your page. The next way we've implemented this is with the faction crews, the faction status. And we've got a couple examples here. So you can see the ink rakes, if they were hostile, I could right click, go multi-sided, choose side, same process again. Now, in this case though, the image is so tiny it's really hard to see. So I really recommend expanding the size of this little pick box so that it's larger and you can tell what you're looking at. And here, if let's say we did a score that helped out the ink rakes, we did them a solid, and now their faction status is improved and they're only interfering, and it's changed from hostile to interfering. And as we continue to move along, we could go all the way up until, yay, they're our allies, our best friends, and now they come to us with all their needs. So all of those factions are sitting here in the Factions tab. Click on the ones that you want, copy paste them, just like I did in the last part. You see I put the circle of the flame there, and then set the faction status specific to your crew. So let's say we stepped on some turf for the circle of the flame, and we're going to start off with them at -1. They're interfering, and we've got that. That way, if you have the 5 or so factions that you start off being embroiled with, they can all fit here and you can keep track of them the whole time. You can still do it through the character sheet as well, but we really love having all of this visible here, just so that it's, everyone can see it. The next way that we use rollable tables, and this is kind of sprinkled throughout a lot of UI content, you don't be surprised if you see this in a few other places, is for our playmats. So right now you see Barrow Cleft. This is the image from the book of Barrow Cleft, and if you were going to do a score there, this might be a great image to pull up. But there is actually 23 images here. So the way we're going to get to it right now, if I click on it, I can't do anything. Nothing happens. I can click on the tokens, but I can't click on the map itself. That's because it's on the map layer. So if I go here and if I change my layer from objects and tokens to map and background, now the objects and tokens, and you can see here, get kind of faded, and the map itself is selectable. I can right click on it, go to multi-sided, choose side, just the same way as we did with the other tokens. And again, the image is so small, you really want to expand it so that, come on, expand for me. There we go. So that you can actually see what image you're picking. And you can go through and see all of the different districts. So we have all the districts. And then once we finish with the districts, we got a couple other things. Let's say you're doing character creation and you want to have a screener for that. We've got a couple just sort of things you might find in Doskvol, like haunted canals, or if you're indulging vice during downtime, leaving it to chance, planning the score, and all of these different conceptual elements that you might want to drop in. And then let's say you want to put in your own content. If you go to this very last page and say choose, this is going to pull up a blank map, but because Roll20 uses layers, you can actually put your own image behind it, and then you're going to get something that looks like this, where that image behind is coming through. So, and since the players aren't going to operate on the map level, it's not going to matter that you have 2 images on top of each other, because you're going to go back to the token level and you'll do all your work there. So you can have all of your own custom maps that you just embed here and put right in it, and that is super cool. We really love that feature. If you go to the Doskvol map, There is a rollable table here as well, and it's just to toggle on and off the district names. So if you go choose side and you choose the other option, the only difference is now the district names are gone. And that's just in the event that it's getting a little cluttered. You know the area well, you don't need to see all of the names. But those are rollable tables. You can also find them if you want to create new rollable tables. We have them all here in the collections tab, and you can see that there are the 23 scores, the clocks for 4 through 12, and then I mean there are so many here, all of the faction statuses. So tons and tons of rollable tables there. And you can, if you click on the token button, it'll just drop it right onto a table. So for instance, if I wanted to create a new four-tick clock, I hit token, and boom, it just drops it right there. You can double click on it to name it escape and save settings, and that also helps to check the nameplate, and now that's labeled and you can tick the clocks on that. We have a bunch of those clocks already here, but they're also in the collections. And that's how you use rollable tables in the Blades in the Dark Haunts of Doskvol module. Up next, we're going to talk about token markers.